Well, hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of the T&T Podcast. Here with your boy Torres Finney and my co-host Tyler Layfield. What's up, Tyler?
Man, nothing much. It's good to be back. It's been a minute, but a lot has happened between the last one and this one, so plenty to catch up on.
Yeah, man. I mean, look, we're deep into sports, and for myself, yes, last week I had to take a little time off. I always am big into doing things like have a little quick vacation, but to me, this was no vacation. This was just pure fun and enjoyment. I went to WrestleMania last week. Had an incredible time. I had an absolutely incredible time. Man, to be there in the midst, was blessed to get some really, really good seats. Got some
I
VIP seats and
saw
stuff,
that.
so that was really cool. Man, that was so cool to see the guys I grew up on, guys like Randy Orton, guys like John Cena, um, and it was really cool to see one of my
Stone
guys,
Cold.
Stone Cold. Yeah, it was cool to see
Yeah.
Stone Cold. That was cool. It was really cool to see one of my guys that we actually wrestled. We both graduated in 2016. He went to Etowah High School. His name is Braun Breaker.
Okay.
Bronson Rick Steiner. Quick story. Bronson, uh, his senior year, he wrestled at 220. I was the 195 state champion. He was the 220 state champion. And Bronson was just a beast, especially his senior year. Out of nowhere, like his junior year, he went from 182 to 220, and he just was like an absolute beast. He went to
Mm.
Kennesaw State, was an incredible fullback for them. I mean, the man, I think he wrestled over 1,000 yards, like multiple seasons there.
Wow.
Um, and then he played for the Baltimore Ravens. He played for the Ravens for a year, I believe, a year, and then he just no longer wanted to do football anymore because his goal always was pro wrestling. And if anybody know the Steiner name, you have the Rick Steiners and all the Steiner brothers. You know, his uncle and his dad. So they're known
So
for.
wait, his family has done WWE?
Yes, the Steiner brothers. Yes,
Oh, wow. Okay.
legendary tag team. Yeah, they were always at the wrestling events. I will always see them
My
at the
dad
wrestling
probably
events.
knows some of them then.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He knows the Steiners. Yeah. He'll know the
Okay.
Steiners. So to see this, so obviously to see Bronson being his area, that was really good to meet him. And we talked back. We talked and talked about a lot of different things and things like that. So
I
he
bet you
wants to
did.
do a workout, and I was like, bro, I ain't gonna see. I seen his workout. We follow each other and stuff, and we talk sometime on Instagram. I've seen his workouts, and his workouts right now. I don't work out like that. Like that's a lot of like I live heavy in terms of things for full MMA, but the type of heavy lifting he doing, hey man, I have to
Like powerlifting type stuff, ain't it?
yes, you got to look as jacked as possible. Obviously, being in pro wrestling, so
Yeah.
um, I don't do necessarily those workouts like that anymore. Like I know I still look big to a lot, but not like that. Not 250 bigs. That joker still get on the bar bench at 450 with ease. So I gotta I can't do stuff like that.
Uh-huh.
But no, I'll still do it and enjoy it. But yeah, man, WrestleMania was great. 65,000 people packed out. I think they said that's the most the Allegiant Stadium besides the Super Bowl has ever been packed in its history. Um, Crazy to just sit there and see like all of those people just coming all together, man. That was really cool. That was really cool.
Yeah. Cena got his belt back too, right?
He won the 17 title, broke Ric Flair's record, man. Ric Flair, they
It's
were
almost
tied at
like it was
16.
scripted that way.
Yeah, that's true. He
Uh-huh.
got his 17 title. So, but people don't understand. Look, they don't put the title on you unless they believe that you can carry the company. So, that's the only way you get the title.
Yeah, but he's done now, right? That's his last
That was his
hurrah
last
now.
ever WrestleMania. Yep,
Okay, so I wonder when his last actual, fight and stuff will
it'll be
be.
in December. It'll be in December.
Oh, okay, so he's gonna go. He's gonna do like a little farewell tour kind of deal. Okay,
That
cool,
that's what
cool.
this entire thing has been for the whole year.
Yeah.
It's gonna be. He started in January. For the whole year, it's gonna be farewell Cena, basically, and they're gonna do a lot of like matches. Like he's going against Randy Orton next month. He'll probably go against CM
I
Punk.
see. I always liked him. Back in my day when I was actually watching it, middle school, he was my favorite. I liked Randy Orton. I liked him a
Yeah,
lot.
Orton he's a beast, man. It was cool to see him, man. It was so epic. It was so
Yeah, yeah.
epic.
Somebody said something about Travis Scott and all. I didn't see all that, but I heard something with Cena and him and
Yeah, Travis
Cody
Scott, he
Rhodes.
showed up. He cost Cody Rhodes the title. Yeah, I don't like when they start adding in rappers to the stuff. You know, you can what tell you about
It's
you
just
can
the way you said it. I don't
you can
like it when
add
they
them
start
in,
adding rap
but you can't add them to like the main event stuff. That's
for
not
real.
you can't
Yeah.
be doing that. No, you
Uh-uh.
mess they
So
mess.
what he do? Just come in and mess with Cody Rhodes to get him to lose or something?
Yeah, that's I don't like that. I don't like
Uh-huh. That's funny
that.
though. It's funny. It's funny how you did that though.
I ain't like that.
Oh man. Well, anything else been new with you? You about to go to Florida today? What's the deal with that? Going back to train?
Yeah, going back to training Florida. Yeah, going to Fusion XL. Also, yes, I want to give a huge shout out to my boy, man, Malcolm Wellmaker. His
Yeah.
debut was yesterday, bro.
I didn't get
Oh,
to see it, but Dad was telling me about it. How'd it go?
bro, first round knockout, beautiful. I mean,
I have to go back and look at that. Send it to me.
beautiful
Send me the clip. I'm gonna have to
right
go
hook.
watch that.
It's on my Instagram story.
All
Um,
right.
beautiful
Cool.
right hook, brother.
Uh huh.
I jumped. We was at a cookout yesterday. I jumped up and knocked over like 2 minute drinks. I was so
What was
ecstatic.
that on? Because I went to go look on. It must not have been on ESPN.
Yeah, it was on ESPN.
Golly, I went to go look. I didn't see nothing with it. He was good though. The time I saw him in person, that sucker was awesome.
Dude,
Yeah,
Malcolm,
yeah, and he stopped that. That was a good right hook.
bro, it
He's
was
legit.
dude. Malcolm is a beast, and I loved it, man. I can't wait to see what's next for him, bro. Obviously, a quick fight. He wants to do a quick turnaround. More than likely, I think he'll be probably get on that Atlanta card. You know, obviously he's a Georgia boy as well. So
Yeah.
I am so pumped for Malcolm, bro. I am so pumped for him, dude. He
And what
did
card was that? Was that was that a fight night or what was that?
fight night.
Okay, cool.
So yeah,
Yeah.
it's so special, man. I can't wait.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't wait.
When do they release? I know they've released some of the fights for the Georgia card, the Atlanta card. When do they have that finalized? You think?
Um, Probably like 5 weeks out,
Okay.
5 or 4 weeks.
So there's still a chance. There's still a chance
They still
for.
they still always do things up to that point. Yeah, they
Uh,
always. But then again, like I mean, it's like they can do something 3 weeks out. You know,
yeah. Yeah.
it just how the people got to remember the fight game isn't. There's no such thing as a set schedule for the fight game. You can't. Don't ever try to plan anything around the fight game. You got to be ready to do things on the moment because it could be at the moment somebody switch up in 2 weeks out. So it's like it's just the beauty of the fight game. That's why they say you always got to be ready. But yeah, that's just how fighting is.
Makes
Nothing
sense.
set.
Makes sense.
Nothing set.
Yeah, coach. This weekend we won our semifinal game against Rutland, so that was a
Saw
good one.
that.
And then
I
we're
saw
going
that.
to the championship this coming up week. So yeah, I'm excited about that. It was funny, Torres. It was 0-0 at half. And they always bring out their high school coach. The high school coach always comes out as a bigger man from Rutland. He likes to be yelling out stuff during the game. We were coming off the field at half, tied 0-0. I start hearing him say, they can't shoot. They can't shoot. I just told him, I was like, y'all get quiet. Listen to this real quick. Let's listen to this real quick. And dude, and I was like, that just kind of lit a fire under us. And second half, man, I'll have to send you some of the clips later on.
Please
After
do.
every goal, we ended up winning 3-0. After every goal, I'd look at my girl, we can't shoot. We can't shoot. Just do like that. Oh, he hated it. But I've been dealing with that guy for 3 years. It was really nice
Oh,
to
Kyle's got a
beat him
rival.
last year. It was nice to put him away this year too. That was good, but it was like the old Jordan meme from Last Dance. It was
Uh,
then that I took it personal.
Took
You
it
know what I'm saying?
personal. I love that.
You don't do that. You don't do that, man. No,
Dude,
I don't
Kyle
care
said, "Don't
how
pick,
amped
don't
up
pick
you
on me."
get.
He said, "Don't
Yeah.
pick on my team." Oh, I love, dude. I love that. Now, please send me those
No,
clips, dude.
sir.
I
I
love that
will.
when you can like stick it to someone's face when they say you.
Oh, it's
You already
great.
know me. I'm big on that. When you trying to somebody
It's
tell you can't
great.
do something, stick it right to their face. I love that. Let's go. I love it.
Girls were just eating it up, man. And then it was funny
Woo.
that his own players, like, cause they have a middle school coach, but he comes down to help. His own players were like laughing at it. They thought it was funny that I was doing that after every one of them. And I'm pretty cool with their players. Like, I'll talk to them after the games and stuff like that. And they were like, yeah, we hated that he said that, and we knew it was going. They said we were watching y'all on warm ups. We knew y'all could shoot. Like, literally, the girls were telling me that they were like, we knew you could shoot. So for him to say that was really kind of dumb, is what they were saying. So his own people are just flipping on him. So that was funny. It
So
was
let
it
me
was
ask you
good.
as well. Who are y'all playing in the finals?
Byron. They are undefeated as well. So
Ooh, big one.
we haven't allowed a goal still. We still haven't allowed a single goal this season. So they've allowed some goals. Like they just beat Fort Valley, who we beat 5-0 in the regular season. They beat them 3-2 with a game win in the last 30 seconds
Oh
in
wow.
the semifinals to move on. So
Wow.
they're susceptible. Like we can they're vulnerable. We can pick on some things. So it'll be a good week of practice. I got some stuff ready for them, man. We're gonna throw some different looks at them and stuff.
I'm
So
so far. What
I'm
day is
looking
the
forward to it.
championship? What day is it?
Saturday, 10 a.m. Santa's
Saturday.
coming to town.
Ooh, we got a
Santa's
whole
coming
week
to town.
prepared. Okay. Let's
Yeah,
do
yeah,
it.
no, oh yeah. We always do. Every game's on Saturday for the most part. So
Okay.
looking forward to it. But it'll be good. I wanted to give them that shout out though. So with the next thing though, the biggest kind of storyline of the weekend. The NFL draft was here. We really didn't get a chance to really do a mock draft thing, but it was fine. I've been busy. You've been busy. I feel like everybody's been busy, man, lately. It's been a busy month for me. I definitely know it's been for you. But coming from I mentioned it to really kind of, we haven't had a chance to really sit down and talk about it. We've been texting in the group chat, knowing that you were a big Colorado guy this last year,
Mm-hmm.
or really the past couple years.
Yeah.
Shedeur, it was obvious the guy was pretty good. We were on record on the show talking about how good he had played this last season. But we get to the first round, go through every single pick, no pick. The one that I was really looking forward to, and I was texting in the group chat, was Torres' Steelers. Oh my God, they got a chance to either get Jackson Dart or Shedeur Sanders here. Sure enough, y'all do the Steeler thing. You go and we'll talk about them more later. But you end up going with the defensive tackle from Oregon. Pass him up. He gets passed up a good bit. Then you even have the Giants who are QB needy. They trade back in and they pick Dart. So you end up having, if I'm not mistaken, you got Cam Ward. You got you have Jackson Dart. You have Dylan Gabriel. You got the kid from Louisville that's 26 years old, drafted ahead of him. Who else did they have? There was more to it. There was a lot, man. They got drafted ahead of Shedeur.
Time's
And
out. Quarterbacks. Quarterbacks.
yeah, talking about
That,
just
that
quarterbacks.
that was only five. All right. You had Cam Ward. You had Jackson Dart. You had Tyler Show. You had Jalen Milrow,
That's it,
and
Milrow.
Dylan
And
Gabriel.
then Dylan Gabriel. That's
Yeah.
it. So five really wasn't a great QB class,
It
and
wasn't.
I think everybody agrees with that. But still, like you still had some teams that were QB needy that just continued to pass, and then finally we get to what, fifth round. Fifth round, we get to the Cleveland Browns. They finally make the pick. You had the Saints in the mix, but they went with this with the kid from Louisville, Cam Ward, of course, to the Titans. Jalen Milrow, that was a little bit of a, I didn't know if the Seattle would do that, but they ended up going with him. That'll be an interesting one to watch. And then Dylan Gabriel, the Browns go ahead and double up. They go Dylan Gabriel as the first quarterback and then go back again and get Shedeur. But really what I ended up hearing, I was, trying to listen to different sources about things. I was listening to different podcasts, seeing what people had to say. And there was one I was listening to, and they said that and it's obvious now. The whole interview process is really what ended up screwing him. Is what it sounds like. He was approaching this as if he was, and it could be his dad's fault. His dad has propped him up on this pedestal where he's even been on Twitter. The tweet, everybody knows the viral tweet. My son's gonna be a top 5 picks next year. It's been going viral, but we have done propped him to this point where that was the expectation. That was the bar, and he had to live up to it. And he was going into this interview process pretty much saying, well, if y'all are going to run things like this, then maybe this ain't a fit. Saying stuff like that. Didn't throw at the combine. Didn't do the Senior Bowl, Shrine Bowl kind of stuff. Really approached this as if he is a first round pick. When in reality, I guess it all seemed like the scouts. I mean, maybe it was just this cockiness to him that drove people off. What did you kind of think about it?
So, one, like, I'm just going to go just put it straight out there. I know a
Have
lot of
at it.
people try to say it was a racist thing, or
Yeah.
him being arrogant and outgoing, him being confident in himself was the main reason why he didn't get drafted. What I am going to say is part of that, I wouldn't say racism, but I'm going to say part of that was him being blackballed. But this is the part where two things can be true. The other part is this was not a good quarterback class. Yes, on most people predictions and rankings and things of that nature, he was a top 3 quarterback that should have been drafted. He was obviously number 2 behind Cam Ward. A lot of people thought that he was going top 5. Okay, well, let's go back and look. What quarterbacks were taken in the top 5? There was only one, Cam Ward. All right. Yeah. Well, they said, well, teams like the Raiders needed a quarterback. Teams like the Steelers needed a quarterback. Teams like etc. needed a quarterback. The Giants.
Saints,
right?
Yeah.
Saints. Well, for one, obviously you saw the Saints didn't get nobody to the second round. All right. You saw Seattle didn't get their quarterback to the third round. You saw
Dylan Gabriel wasn't too.
Dylan Gabriel.
Was he a third?
He was.
That was a bit of a reach.
He was 4th round.
Yeah, that was a bit of a reach.
That was a reach. I really. That's a part of it. Like I said, there's a little bit of blackball. It was foolishness, and I think the Browns still made a mistake. How you gonna draft 2 quarterbacks back-to-back round? That makes no sense.
We'll talk about that. We'll talk about
but that. I am going to say this. So I saw the reports on the stuff with him and the Giants. Brian DeBall at the NFL Combine literally said that his meeting with Shedeur Sanders didn't go well. And obviously there was a lot of reports about how his meeting with Brian DeBall went. Brian DeBall, from an anonymous source, said that his meeting with Brian DeBall was one of the worst meetings that they've ever seen in an NFL Combine draft for the interview process. Now, they said they never wanted Shedeur. So Jackson Dart going over Shedeur, they went over what they wanted anyway. So Shedeur was never going to the Giants regardless. So
it was fun. It's funny though. Ironically, am I not mistaken that in the bowl game that he played, he had the Giants cleats on or something like that?
Yes, he did. I remember that.
That's funny now looking back on it. But continue.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, so when people want to say, "Well, look at the quarterbacks that got taken in front of him," one, he was never going to the Giants. Now you might think that he's a better quarterback than Jackson Dart. Go be it. I mean,
there's points to be made. There's points to be made.
But he was never going to the Giants because the Giants never wanted him from the draft process to begin with. So don't bring up the fact that, these other quarterbacks. Now let's go to Seattle. Mike Macdonald. Mike Macdonald was on the offensive staff for the entire MVP seasons for Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens. He is now the new head coach for the Seattle Seahawks. He drafted Jalen Milroe because he sees comparisons to Lamar. Now, do we have to agree with that? No. But that's from his words, from his mouth, from his
fast.
All right. Fast, run, you already know. Come on, the old adage. All right. That's the reason why Mike Macdonald got Jalen Milroe. Now, you might say, well, I think he's better. Yes, I definitely think Shedeur is better than Jalen Milroe. That's no question. But again, if y'all understanding what I'm doing right now, the Saints, Tyler Show, I absolutely disagree with this. I absolutely disagree. Yeah, but guess what? They got a new head coach, Kellen Moore. They got a new offensive coordinator. When you look at and then I tell people, go look at the entire quarterback room of the New Orleans Saints. Derek Carr, Ben DiNucci, Spencer Rattler. Now they got Tyler Show. Look, brother, they weren't looking to do anything good to begin with. Look at that quarterback room. They ain't looking to start nothing anyway. Like, don't get mad at them for them making bad picks. That's why the Saints are where they at right now. They ain't never made good picks. So don't get mad at a bad franchise. What I'm saying is these teams recruit and draft based off what they feel fits their system. Again, some of these organizations are bad. Now, it doesn't help the fact that you talk the way you talk, but your talent don't meet your talk. Now, I'm not saying Shedeur isn't. I do think Shedeur is the second best quarterback in the draft. For verbatim, I personally do. He's behind Cam Ward. Cam Ward is number 1. He's number 2. But being number 2 in this draft, no shade to anyone else, is not that great. No. Because there ain't that many good quarterbacks in this draft. And people have to also remember. So if Shedeur was the 6th quarterback taken in the 5th round, you want to know how many quarterbacks got taken last year in just the first round? 6. You had 6 quarterbacks taken in the first round last year, which is meaning not as many teams need quarterbacks. I'm not going to waste a first round.
We had, who was it? Like if you look at it, Jaden Daniels.
Bo Nix.
Repping him now. Bo Nix did a great job.
Caleb Williams. J.J. McCarthy.
We haven't seen that one yet, so we'll have to see how that one plays out.
That was another one because I did this one yesterday. I had to argue. I was arguing with somebody yesterday about this, but it was for sure 6 because I counted this yesterday already. And I can go back to it right now. But there were 6 quarterbacks taken in the first round last year. Meaning, guess what? You're not going to
Drake
have
May.
Drake May. That's something. That's 5,
Uh-huh.
and there's
And
one more.
then there's one more. Let me see here. It is.
There's one more.
Come on, Tyler, find it.
There's one more.
Bo Nix, you already said. McCarthy, you already said. Michael Penix. How could we
Michael
forget
Penix.
Michael
How could you
Penix?
forget? Yeah. So that's
Good
6
God
quarterbacks.
Almighty.
So look. So we had a
There's
quarterback.
not a lot of holes.
It's not a lot of holes. What other teams gonna need quarterbacks this year? Let's be real.
There
lot
wasn't a
of
lot.
teams
Every
are
time I looked, I'm just like, they already got their guy. They already got their guy. They already got. There was no reason to really go out and draft him.
Yes, and then people say, "Oh, bring in Shedeur." Shedeur ain't come. Come on, look, listen. Y'all have to be real. Y'all can't be. That's why I hate when people's like sitting here being oblivious and like crazy. You bring in Shedeur to be a backup. The moment the starter, the predeemed starter of a franchise, the franchise feel like this organization feel like this quarterback is my guy. The moment he might have a game, one game bad, maybe 2 games bad. Oh Lord, here go the media.
Put in Shedeur.
Time to put in Shedeur. You might have Dion speak. You might have this guy speak. Do you want to deal with that?
I wouldn't. I know the answer to that for myself.
Come on. Like, we can't sit here and act like this. And we know they're going to do that.
I mean, you can compare
it
to the Falcons this last year. I mean, Penix wasn't even that big of a personality, but the fact alone that he was drafted within the top 10, that the Falcons signed Kirk Cousins for all the amount that they did and then drafted Penix, put that pressure there, where people are like, all right, it's time. But now you bring in this guy, the son of Deion Sanders, the son of primetime, Neon Deion. He's got all the show about him and all this kind of stuff. Colorado that turned into the place where rappers come in the locker room and all this kind of stuff.
Yep.
It's going to be a show. It's going to be a circus. And I feel like a lot of people did not want to deal with it.
And they didn't. Now, I'm going to say this, though. There shouldn't necessarily always be a problem coming to the fact that when a guy wants to be outgoing or he's confident in himself, that should hurt him. Now, I did have a problem with people trying to compare him to Johnny Manziel and Baker Mayfield. Well, I'll say one, Johnny Manziel is literally you're naming 2 guys who has a case to be in a part of one of the greatest quarterbacks in college in history. Like they both Heisman.
Both of them were great in college. Yeah,
elite college players. We can't put him on that pedestal. Mm-hmm. Now,
even if his jersey is retired.
Yeah, and there's not. Yeah, you're right. Like,
yeah.
Like that's what I'm saying. Like Shedeur is great. I mean, he's a good college quarterback. Let me get that correct. He's a good college quarterback. I'm not taking that away from him. He did a lot of good things. He has solid numbers. But we watched the games. All right. He held the ball too long. He wasn't always the most accurate guy. Look at the teams that they played and they struggle. And yes, you can also attest that to the offensive line because one player can't do anything. They didn't have that great of a run game. They did have good wide receiver weapons. But then I sit here and see these comparisons to Cam Ward. And it's like, well, who did Cam Ward play? And what did Cam Ward win? Well, Cam Ward was dropping 40 points and still losing games because of how bad that defense was.
Cam Ward was upsetting teams.
Cam Ward wasn't losing games because he couldn't score. He didn't get beat by Nebraska.
He was making stuff happen.
That's what I'm saying. He was making things happen. Like, we can't do this, man. I definitely don't think the slide. I don't think he should have dropped to the 5th round. Be completely.
Yeah. Like you said, it's hard to make the case for all these other teams. Like, hey, where would he have made it? So I don't know.
I do.
It's hard to fault him.
Pittsburgh, brother. Now.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I don't know. Like,
I don't know why y'all didn't take I would have just. But then again, you may not have wanted the circus. We don't know about the Aaron Rodgers stuff. There's a lot of stuff being said that Aaron Rodgers, he might not come if you draft a certain guy and stuff, which is why you ended up with Will Howard. Which, to be honest with you, Will Howard's not a bad he's another one of those guys that's going to come in and I think it'd be a great backup. Y'all are good at doing that. So. Yeah, we'll see if how that plays out. But yeah, it was weird that the Steelers, continued to pass on him. But I mean, I'm kind of like you. I mean, Shedeur was up there. To me, I wouldn't have picked the guy from Louisville over him. I wouldn't have picked Gabriel over him. I'm of the belief I think you can make a case for Jackson Dart. I didn't mind Jackson Dart. I think he's got some of that stuff that people look for. Like the Josh Allen type. Maybe this guy's not perfect, but he's got the intangibles that can, we can make something happen with this guy. I don't mind going him second. Like, I don't think that's like an atrocity to put Jackson Dart second. But I don't know. We'll see how it plays out. But
Fifth round. Look, he should have went third. Now, understanding again the Seattle mold after hearing what Mike McDonald was saying about, like, obviously the system, what he saw with Lamar, he would try to do, allowing Jalen Murray sit behind Sam Darnold for some time. Okay, that makes sense in his situation. Okay, that makes sense. I can't sit here and get mad at him because he wants to make sense for his like for his organization. Now, do we agree? Do I always think that these organizations make great decisions? No, I do not. Like the Saints, I don't think Tyler Show should have been picked over him. I absolutely agree.
yeah,
I'm not disagreeing with
I
that.
don't agree with that one either.
But
Really.
when you look at what the organization wants and what fits their system, can I disagree with them there on that part?
Yeah.
Probably not. Like that's what they want, and we've known this throughout the years of the draft. Like, why are we acting like this? There's been multiple times. Like, listen, when Lamar Jackson was coming out, Lamar Jackson had no baggage. He had no baggage, and yet they were passing up on him. But people didn't.
Only baggage he had is like people trying to say he's not a quarterback, he's a wide receiver.
Yeah.
You remember
but
all that kind of stuff. That's the only thing he really had. He really wasn't a like bad character guy. He wasn't too outspoken and stuff like that. You know, but his play backed up anything he said. He was putting up. He's a Heisman. Like this guy was tearing people up. Lamar had a great college career.
He did. And that's the thing. That's the difference. And I said the thing with Lamar is they didn't think he was good enough to be a quarterback. So people passed up on him because they didn't think he would fit the system of a pro-style NFL. People forget when the Ravens selected him, it's not like he came into Baltimore instantly.
They had him doing like wide receiver stuff. They had him doing the weird oddball things. He was like a gimmick player. Like, let's throw him out there and see what he does here and stuff.
Yes, like that, so. And then once Joe Flacco obviously wasn't cutting it, they put him in. And look, he was having to try to play in a regular pro-style system until they said, okay, we're going to move our entire offense around Lamar Jackson. Obviously, now we see that it has worked out really well for Baltimore. But again, people draft to what fits their system. And some guys just don't think Shedeur fit their system, especially when you only pick 5 quarterbacks. I can understand if they pick 13. Now, that's blackball. If they would have picked like 7, 8, 9, 10.
Yes. If he was that deep, you got Quinn Ewers and Will Howard in front of you. Then, something's really up. But you can definitely make a case. The way the draft fell this year, the lack of QB need for a lot of teams, and them just not wanting to deal with the hoopla. I look at a team like Miami. Tua goes down every year. He does the whole thing where he's going to be out for weeks because of a concussion. If you got Shedeur there, is that going to be problematic? It could. It could end up being problematic. So I don't know. It's just things like that. So let's get into some NFL draft takeaways. Let's talk about your Pittsburgh Steelers first, man. So I want to hear your thoughts. Obviously, you got the defensive tackle from Oregon, Derek Harmon. Did you hear the story about him?
I did, about his mother.
Crazy. That's sad. That's
sad. Same day he got drafted, just a few hours later, his mother passed away. Yeah, that was sad to hear. Yeah, I saw that.
For real. I'm a fan of the draft you guys had. I thought you ended up actually doing a good job, dude. I don't know how you feel about it. I like Caleb Johnson a lot.
I like Caleb Johnson.
I like him a lot. Like he's. I was very tempted to
good running back
in the group chat. Yeah, that running back. I was very tempted to throw in that group chat. How much I want to bet that Caleb Johnson has a better career than Najee Harris as a Steeler? Something like that. And I don't want to put all my eggs in that basket yet, but I do think the potential's there. I really do. I think this kid is good. Obviously, I'm a fan of Jack Sawyer. Who can't be, dude? Another guy to come in there like Watt, you know what I'm saying? Like TJ Watt, come in there, learn from him. Like, I don't know. I think he fits that persona. You got the defensive tackle from Iowa, Yaya Black, Will Howard, like we talked about. And then the other two I don't really know much about. But what were your overall takeaways from your Pittsburgh Steelers?
I thought we definitely had a solid draft. Like I said, again, I don't know what's going on in the GM rooms and head coaching rooms. I mean, I can just only read the reports from what I see. And I know we was obviously, I thought a quarterback was definitely one of the things we would be looking for. But I'm not necessarily mad. I'm glad we got a guy like Caleb Johnson that fills the hole in for having that power back, similar to a Najee Harris, having a great defensive tackle. We load up always on defense, and that's one of the things that Pittsburgh is known for. And they're known for their defense. So I definitely think with the guys that we've brought in this year, obviously having DK Metcalf, I would like to have a lot more confidence in like having a quarterback that's going to be able to uh, 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 attack certain players. You know, like being able to really make it work. I mean, I don't want to have all these weapons offensively, and we don't have a quarterback that can lead the charge. So
Mm-hmm.
hopefully, we at least get Rodgers. I know Rodgers on the back end for sure, but
Yeah.
you know, it's better than nothing. And I'm be honest with you, it's better than Mason Rudolph. And I can't deal with another Rudolph. I've sat there and watched Rudolph long enough, man. I'm sorry. I can't get happy about that. Like
No.
I don't know, and like
Who would be?
seeing Will Howard, I'm pumped. I mean, look, you gotta remember, look at the weapons he had around him. He was able to make it work. Obviously at Ohio State, amongst other guys. We just gotta see how it works out for him. Hopefully, could he come in and make some noise? Probably could he. Um, but yeah, man. I mean, I just think we need a lot of help at that QB position, and hopefully we'll make some moves a little bit after the draft. Hopefully, Aaron Rodgers finally makes his decision. I also saw we were
Mm-hmm.
potentially going after Kirk Cousins as well. Um,
Wonder how that one will work out because it would all
uh,
have to be like how much money does Atlanta end up paying off the contract? Because it's a very rather large contract.
I said I'm tired of taking Atlanta's trash. We go get Arthur Smith. Now we go get freaking
Yeah,
Kirk
right. Oh
Cousins.
God,
Stop
that'd
it.
be hilarious.
That stop it. And all the trash I
Freaking
talk about
hilarious.
Atlanta, then look what we go and do.
Uh-huh. That'd be funny. But you
uh,
need somebody. Nevertheless, you need somebody competent to come in and play quarterback for you. That's for sure. Speaking of Falcons, let's talk about their draft, dude. Let's talk about how things went because, they're at what was it, 15? They were at number 15 overall. They ended up getting Jalen Walker, fell right into their lap. First time since 1966 that they drafted a UGA player in either the first or second round. So, and I believe 1966 is when the franchise actually was created. So, rather wild that you have not gone in state for one of the elite talents that we've been pumping out lately. But get Jalen Walker, I love that fit. I thought that was just too perfect, and I felt like they were going to find a way to screw that up. They did not. They made the right decision, but then they made a little bit of a weird move. Later on that night, they ended up trading up to get James Pierce from Tennessee. They traded away a fifth in this year's draft, a first round pick for next year, and some other picks. Like it was quite a bit of compensation just to move up to the late first round and get this guy. But the need has been there for quite some time at pass rush. I also ended up getting two safeties: Xavier Watson, Billy Bowman, Xavier from Notre Dame, Billy Bowman from Oklahoma, and then a lineman in the seventh round, Jack Nelson. So overall, what were your thoughts with what Atlanta did?
I think Atlanta actually had a really good draft. They focused heavily on defense. I definitely think the Falcons. They know they have a great offensive weapons. Finally
Mm-hmm.
going with Michael Penix. They got the running back. They got the
Yeah,
receivers. They got the tight end. Uh, Young time today, boy.
gonna make me
But yeah,
yawn.
they have all the weapons offensively that I think they can grow from. And now, obviously, getting all these good players defensively, using your multiple picks that you had. I mean, they had. I think they had like almost a nearly A plus type of draft. I mean, at least A minus or
See, a
at
lot of
least an
people are
A.
just crapping on that trade, though. The moving back up to the first round, like, that's the main thing that's holding people back from
Yeah,
giving them a good
but
grade.
I mean, again, they saw something that it was needed for that for one.
Mm-hmm.
Because heck, I saw Mel Kiper's today. Mel Kiper gave the Browns an A plus because they
Of
drafted
course he
Shedeur.
did. Yeah,
That's the goofiest thing I've ever. How you draft two quarterbacks back to back and you get an A plus? Like, come on, bro. Like
for real.
that don't even make sense. We got five
Seriously.
quarterbacks on the roster. Like, come on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they ended up attacking that to try to kind of fix that hole that's there. So we'll see how that goes. Pierce was a guy. This last year really wasn't amazing, but he's had that potential in years past where he's been a great pass rusher. Jalen Walker, we know what he brings. It's awesome, man. One of the things you talk about polar opposites. Jalen Walker and Shedeur Sanders when it comes to the interviews and stuff. there was GMs that would talk. One of the questions they would ask is they would ask every Georgia player, and Georgia ended up having 13 players drafted this year. They would ask every Georgia player if you could take one teammate with you to your NFL team that you're about to get drafted to, who would it be? Every one of them said Jalen Walker. Every
Wow.
freaking one of them. Yeah, and it just speaks to the character of this guy. Like he's just a great dude overall. Great player, high motor. Like this last year was really awesome for him, man. We were talking about him nearly every week,
We were.
especially in the big games. Texas, he was ripping Texas every time he played Texas. This guy was showing out. It was comical, man. When it got to the Saints pick, and they were talking about. It was fun because they showed Kelvin Banks, the tackle for Texas, getting
Mm-hmm.
drafted by the Saints, and then they go and showed, and there was all the nice stuff, and then they go and show Jalen Walker, and every like highlight they were showing was him just wrecking through Kelvin Banks every time, and now he's going to be able to go against him twice a year, so that's funny. I think this was really good picks. I know a lot of people are giving them a hard time about the trade, but they're addressing a position of need. They have got to get better at pass rush. They've been saying this for like a decade now. You got to get a pass rusher. The last guy I felt like they had that was somewhat like this was like Vic Beasley. That's been forever ago, man. You got to get better at some point. You got to end up doing something different at some point, and that's them trying to do it. I did like the Xavier Watts pick. Billy Bowman Jr., he's got some stuff he can show. So, I mean, I thought it was an overall pretty good draft. A lot of people, even my dad, he was saying, man, this is probably one of the better drafts I've seen them do. Like, they were actually, you got kind of a steal in Jalen Walker. You didn't think you were even going to probably get him because everybody had him projected to be a top 10 pick. The fact that you got him alone is a dub.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's pretty awesome. I feel like that's a good thing. Any other things you want to add to the Falcons?
No, man. They like I said, I'm actually excited to see what the Falcons do this year. Actually,
Yeah.
might not be able to making many jokes on the Falcons this year. In this coming season, they might.
I sure
actually
hope
make
so.
some noise. They might make some noise.
I hope so, man, because if you think about it, trading that next year's first, if you trade it like that, in order to make this thing kind of equal out, you need to have a pretty good season. That way,
You
that
do.
pick is like a late first round pick. So you're at least looking at having to get 11 wins, this year. So I hope they end up
Ooh.
doing that. Yeah.
Well, with the Saints, the way the Saints drafted, that's very possible. Hopefully, I mean, look, I think the Panthers going to resurge. I think the Buccaneers obviously going to always be there. So we'll see.
Buccaneers are pretty good. The Panthers, I was just okay on, and we can get into that here in a minute. I wasn't over the moon with their draft choices. I know they needed to get weapons for him, but I felt like that was for that the kid from Arizona. I'm just not as crazy about as a lot of people.
What's his name again?
Tetirora McMillan, T Mac, they call him, the
Mm.
wide receiver from Arizona. He's good. Like, he's a contested catch guy. To me, you see those happen pretty good sometimes. Like sometimes these contested catch guys, they do good. Like the guys can go up and moss people. That's awesome. But at the end of the day, I feel like in this day and age, in the NFL, you've got to be able to create separation. And if you're not able to do that, you're not getting open. Like you got to realize that you're not going to be facing just Joe Schmo from whatever university anymore. You're actually facing legit NFL talent, and they're bringing him in to be the alpha. This guy's supposed to come in and be the number one. You're going to be getting some freaking, whoever the best corner is facing you. You can't expect to go out there and just moss people every time. You're going to have to get open. You're going to have to be a
Yeah.
good route runner. So we'll see how it goes. Any other, I'm going to go through some teams, man. I saw a lot of good teams, a lot of teams that drafted pretty well. Did anybody stick out to you? Like, just we can kind of go back and forth. Any team stick out to you? In the draft?
It was a little tough for me because, like I said, I usually don't pay attention to the draft enough necessarily. I just see the selections on certain picks, but I will say that obviously it was huge to stick with the. Kobe made a good point. It was huge to stick with the entire Shedeur Sanders saga throughout this whole thing. So that's why I paid attention to the draft a lot more often than I usually do. But I will say I was a little surprised about Isaiah Bond dropping as low as he
He's
did.
got those sexual assault stuff going on.
Yeah, that's true.
That's the main thing I think that's kind of screwing with him is he's got all that background stuff messing with him.
That's risky.
God only knows how that's going to play out. Yeah, that's what I ended up. Somebody ended up bringing that to my attention. I was like, okay, that makes a little bit more sense.
That makes sense now. I didn't know that. I was about to say, yeah, I was very, very surprised. I was like, what is going on here? Seventh round.
The way he left Alabama, it's kind of like how Jermaine Burton, left with us. So they're kind of in a similar boat. You know, Jermaine Burton hasn't had quite the NFL career that he thought he would. He's getting into some trouble, things like that. We'll see. Bond that kind of left the same way, you know, leaving just for more money, you know, better quarterback, he says, and now we're seeing how that goes. Some other teams that really stood out to me, you can't go without talking about the Philadelphia Eagles, man. You know, that they've been drafting great for years now. They go out and get Jihad Campbell from Alabama, linebacker. You know, there was some injury concerns there, but just another guy that you can bring in that's a household name. Andrew Makuba from Texas. We saw this guy firsthand face Georgia. You know those 2 times. You know this year he's good, man. That safety is really good. That's another guy you can bring in. Like I just top pedigree dudes. You also get Smile Munden from Georgia, another Georgia guy in the mix, another Georgia Alabama addition to this team. So the linebacker room gets a guy from each school. Kyle McCord. I really liked him at Syracuse this last year. Him coming in as like a backup quarterback behind Hurts, I think he could be pretty good. He put up some real good numbers at Syracuse this last year. They also got some other guys that are pretty good. Miles Hinton, I know he's a big guy out of the recruiting class of the year he came out. Let me see here. Another team that really stood out that always drafts really well is one that's in your division. You can guess who it is, can't you?
The Ravens.
Correct, Amundo.
Yeah,
They had another good one, man. Malachi Starks falls right into their lap. I heard this guy speak before. Love the character he's got. We've been watching this guy 3 years, man. This guy started as a true freshman. I remember the first game against Oregon. You remember that where he made that like crazy pick in the game. Him and Kyle Hamilton together is gonna be freaking wild. Like that.
Yeah.
That is a safety duo for years to come that's going to be wreaking havoc on the league. They also got an edge rusher, Mike Green, that a lot of people were thinking the Falcons were going to go with, you know, in the middle of the first. So to get him in the second, got a tackle from LSU, Emory Jones is pretty good. And they got one of those Colorado wide receivers, LeJontay Wester. He was pretty good this year. I thought so. 6th round, they got him. He made some pretty good plays. Let's see here. A couple others to name. I liked Arizona. Arizona went out and got Walter Nolan from Ole Miss, Will Johnson from Michigan, the cornerback. So they upgraded their defense. They also got Jordan Birch, former 5-star, started off his career at South Carolina, ended up going to Oregon. I think he's got a lot of untapped potential there. Denzel Burke from Ohio State, good corner. They loaded up on some high pedigree players. Chicago Bears. They ended up going again. What'd you think about going Loveland, Colston Loveland over Tyler Warren from Penn State at tight end?
Oh man, the Bears selected because where did Tyler Warren go?
He ended up going 4 picks later, I think, to the Colts.
I don't. So who did
The Bears picked Loveland before.
Yeah,
that.
What team did Loveland play on? I'm trying to.
He played for Michigan. Remember, they did not have a quarterback. Really, this whole
Yeah,
year.
then they got to be something that they saw obviously in the draft.
He did good 2 years ago with McCarthy too.
Yeah, so well then there you go. Well, again, I definitely think just from
he is younger too. Now you got to remember that he's a younger guy than Warren. Warren kind of sprang up a little later than Loveland did.
Yeah, but Tyler Warren last year obviously he made a lot of noise last year, especially the way he was playing at Penn State. Heck, he took over games. I mean, I just don't. I don't know enough about Loveland to make an assessment.
But I mean, he's good. It's just I'm kind of like you. I think Warren is better.
Yeah, I mean, from what I saw, easily. I'm not going to say easily again. Loveland must have done something in the combine that really stood out to them, just to edge him out just a little bit above Warren. Because obviously, if Warren was taken by the Bears, then Loveland was more than likely going to probably be getting by the Colts. If they
he'd be better with the Colts than Warren because he's used to not having a good quarterback to throw to him.
Yeah,
the Colts would just be status quo.
That's true.
They got him. They also got Luther Burden. You remember him, the 5-star wide receiver that went to Missouri, speedy guy, pretty good. They also got Shamar Turner, good defensive lineman from Texas A&M. He was really highly recruited coming out of high school. I kind of like what Cincinnati did. Shamar Stewart from A&M, good combine guy. He put up big numbers at the combine. Really highly recruited guy coming out of high school too. Also got Dylan Fairchild from Georgia, really good offensive lineman. Of course, didn't play that great this last year, but still showed spurts. And they also got Barrett Carter. If you remember him, It was years ago. I went to a Jones County game. It was they played. I think he came from North Gwinnett. Jones County hosted North Gwinnett that one game, and I remember I was trying my best to get there behind that North Gwinnett bench. I went over there. I was like, "Hey man, you need to go to Georgia." Like I was just like saying, like I wanted him at Georgia so bad. He ended up going to Clemson. Got drafted in the fourth round, but I still really like his talent. Um, I mean, you kind of have to mention, even though the Browns did some stupid stuff, like drafting two quarterbacks, you can make a case that it's not so stupid based off their history of quarterbacks. Surely one of these guys has to hit right. Flacco, Gabriel, Sanders, Pickett. Who else is that? Is there any more guys? Am I
Watson,
missing any?
Deshaun Watson.
Freaking Watson. One of those five has to do something. Surely Torres, right?
You would think.
Your odds have to go up. But I mean, I don't
Yeah,
know. They
listen.
got him.
Yeah, but
It's still weird.
it's all.
But they also got some pretty good other guys. They got a linebacker from UCLA. A lot of people like Schwessinger, Quinshon Judkins, running back from Ohio State, and they paired him up with Dylan Sampson, the running back from Tennessee. Two good running backs. I
Saw
really
that. That was
like
good.
letting go of Chubb, bringing in two new guys. So maybe this will be something. They also got Harold Fannin from Bowling Green. He's a pretty good tight end, a good athlete, and then of course Shedeur Sanders and Dylan Gabriel. So you can make a case there for them. Let's see here. Detroit Lions, they went with some Georgia Bulldogs. They got three of them. Tate Ratledge in the second, Dan Jackson and Dominic Lovett in the seventh. And they also got Tyleek Williams, a defensive tackle from Ohio State. So I'll shout them out too. There's a lot of different places that I thought ended up doing pretty good. But those are kind of the main ones that I wanted to kind of shout out. So we'll see how things go for these teams here in the future. Any other NFL draft takeaways you want to talk about here?
No, man, I definitely think that was the main thing. Yeah, pretty solid draft this year.
Yeah. All right, so let's take it to the NBA playoffs, my guy, because we got some pretty crazy stuff happening as we currently are talking. We're in the New York Knicks are facing the Detroit Pistons. They're up by 12. In Game 4, the series is at 2-1 with the Knicks in the lead there. Been a pretty, I haven't been able to watch a lot, but I've seen some of the highlights. It's been getting pretty chippy, man. I kind of like this new look Pistons where they're kind of bringing back that bad boys persona, getting into fights, pushing people, taking people all that kind of stuff. It's just fun basketball. It's fun. We don't get to see it a lot, and I like that they're kind of taking on that role in the league of being the bad boys again. How do you think this one ends up playing out? Do you see the Knicks closing this one out, or do you think the Pistons hang in?
Well, that's currently the Knicks are currently up right now. I picked the Knicks to win this series, but I definitely think the Knicks are going to eventually finish this one out. They're currently up 12, but if they finish this series, which I think they will, go up 3-1, they finish it back at home in Game 5. So yeah, I think the Knicks handle business.
Yeah. I think so too. I think they end up doing it. A lot of people have been talking about Karl Anthony Towns, how he's been kind of on and off so far in this series, but we'll see. Hopefully they end up, well, not hopefully. I don't really care, kind of who wins that. Whoever wins that will go on to play either the Celtics or the Magic. It looks like it's going to be the Celtics.
Ain't nobody beating Boston on that side, y'all. It's going to come down to
starting to battle some health, man. They're starting to battle some health.
They are, but look.
Tatum's been out of game. Drew Holiday's out today.
They don't even need him, I don't think.
Porzingis is getting his head cut open.
Oh, my gosh.
You saw that?
Boston, it's going to come down to Boston. It's going to come down to Boston and Cleveland. And you're right. Depending on Boston's health will determine whether or not Cleveland's able to win that series. Because if Boston is fully healthy, I'm sorry. That's just...
It's tough. It's going to be tough. The depth is too much they got there. It looks
like Boston's hard to beat, man.
Yeah, Magic have been able to win one so far. Boston leads it.
Yeah, but that one, I mean, dude, that was some luck. That was some luck, bro.
We'll talk about some luck here in a second. We're going to talk about some sure enough luck here in a second. We're going to talk about some sure enough luck. But yeah, you talked about Cleveland. They're up 3-0 right now in that series against the Heat. Looks like they're going to end up sweeping.
Let's see if that game ain't worth watching a few days ago. Come on, they gonna beat.
Yeah, well, there's another series like that too. The freaking Thunder and the Grizzlies. That's already over with.
It's
they
over.
Swept them clean.
Not surprised. The Thunders are that good. People better start sleeping on the boys. They're that good now.
Thunder are awesome, man.
They're that good.
Yeah, Cleveland's going to go on to face either the Pacers or the Bucks. Right now, the Pacers are up 2-1 in the series. I think they'll be playing. When is it? They'll be playing later today at 9:30 p.m.
Hmm.
Um,
That's been a good
but
series. That's been a good
yeah,
series.
how do you think? Do you think the Pacers can do enough to end up pulling that series out, or do you think the Bucks end up taking over?
I definitely, honestly, I do think the Pacers have enough to take this out. It obviously will depend on guys like how Damian Lillard, obviously didn't even have a good game last game, and they still was able to come out and get the victory. But you got to have like both of your pieces connecting together. You just can't have one really playing. Giannis is obviously doing the best that obviously he can, but um, just need Lillard to pick up his game a little bit. I mean, yeah, he had 14 in game two. He had what he had in game one. I mean, I just remember him not playing as good. Yeah, game one he even played. So, and I know he's coming back off a little bit off an injury, but you really need him to come in and really like match, match his teammate because that's why he was brought in. And also, let me go on and say this. I've said this on here before. Said it again. Never think Doc Rivers that great of a coach. So,
No.
I know he won the title. He's a Hall of Famer.
He's gonna milk that title forever. That
Yeah,
one
but
freaking title,
yeah.
2008. Yeah, that
Well,
whole team
look,
milks that thing.
it's hard to win. Look, it's hard to win championships.
It is,
It's
but
hard to win
good
championship.
lord, I've
But
never
yeah,
seen more of an
good Lord.
overhyped freaking title in my
The
life.
way they talk, you would have thought they won like 3, 4, or 5.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
but
And it
yeah,
was a fun team. I enjoyed that team. Like, don't get me wrong, that was
yeah,
a
I enjoyed
fun
the team
big
too.
three. I could sit there, name out the guys I really liked. Like, it was a really fun team to watch. Don't get me wrong. Don't get it twisted. But the thing is, like I said, it's just the most talked about one championship team you
You're
will
right.
ever hear about.
It's talked
Like
about more
they,
than Dallas, and I think
yeah,
Dallas had a harder beat.
yes, yeah. Dallas should definitely be talked about more.
Oh man.
So yeah, that wraps up the East, man. That's the sucky one. Now let's get into the real deal.
Mm.
Talked about the Thunder, wiping out the Grizzlies. They are going to be moving on to face the winner between the Nuggets and the Clippers. Talk about luck. Last night's game at the very end, Aaron Gordon throwing in the not really planned out alley oop there at the
I
end,
know.
just coming off of his fingers. Yeah, that was definitely in. Like it was so close at the
It
time,
was
but
so close.
once you look at it, that was in. And they pull off the stunner to tie the series 2-2. What a series this has been.
That
Kawhi looks like
series,
he is back to Kawhi. This looks like legit Kawhi, like old school Kawhi, like
it does.
Toronto Raptors, leading the Toronto Raptors to
That's
the
right.
finals.
Mm-hmm.
Kawhi, and he looks legit. The Nuggets though, the X factor, Jokic. You still got Jokic, dog, and
Yo,
Jokic
he's
was
a
just
dog, bro. Bro.
Jokic is just. It's hard, man. It's hard to say who you'd rather play out of this series because you got the Nuggets. If you get the Nuggets, you got to deal with Jokic. If you get the Clippers, you got to deal with Kawhi. Like it's like either way, pick your poison, man. You're gonna be dealing with a
You
tough
gonna deal with
night.
something. Yes, bro. Bro, let me tell you something. I let me tell you something. Jokic, for some God given reason, man. Jokic is, bro. He reminds me like a mix of like a Dirk when he's in the post, and his passing abilities is just out of this world,
Larry
bro.
Bird,
That
man. He's
post
got a lot
shot
of
he
like
hit,
bird, big bird, bro. That's Big
bro.
Bird,
Big Bird, like Big Larry Bird, bro.
big
That
Larry
shot
Bird.
he hit to take the lead yesterday in the
Yeah.
post, like on that
Wow.
one pivot and then
Yeah.
falling away, bro.
Yes.
I
It's just
was
like it's just. And
like,
we talked about him before, and you can hype him up a ton. It's just still it amazes me. A guy that looks like that is balling like that.
he's
Like
the best player in the league.
that's just crazy.
Argue with your mama.
It
He's
is
the best
crazy.
player in the league. I know he's probably not gonna win MVP. I think they're probably gonna give it to Shy, which is understandable.
He probably will, but he's
But
definitely everybody knows the truth
brother,
here.
the brother is look the center averaging a triple double. The man is just,
And look at the rest of his team too, dude.
bro.
Look at you talk about most like you take Jokic off that team.
Oh,
That team is dead to rights. They are done, man. Jamal Murray really hasn't been all that great lately. Michael Porter
He
Jr.
hasn't.
really ain't been that great. Westbrook is Westbrook.
Yeah.
Christian Brown, all them. Dude, that team stinks. if
It
you take
does.
him off of it. This guy is carrying, man. Like, what was it, a 30-20, over 30 points, over 20
Yeah,
rebounds
he
yesterday?
had 36, 21, and 8. Like, who's
And two
doing it?
blocks, if I'm not mistaken. Like, this
Yeah,
guy's just getting it done.
he
And
is.
he is the ultimate X factor right now for them right now. Like, he is the single reason they have that series tied. If they don't have Jokic, that this series is a sweep.
And let me tell you something. These games, I mean, every game has been one score besides game 3. That's when the Clippers blew out the Nuggets. Every game, yeah, 112, 110, game 1. Clippers win 105, 102. And then obviously the last game was 101, to 99. These have been one
Mm-hmm.
possession games, and it's tied 2-2. I said this yesterday after watching the game. I said, I do think the Nuggets are going to go back to game 5 and win that. Clippers needed this game because game 6
Yeah.
would have been right back in their building. Now we potentially I predicted Nuggets in 7. I think Nuggets win this series in 7. I definitely think they lose that game 6. Now, again, it's not too far going conclusion because these games are like neck and neck. Kawhi Leonard, James Harden, like he's playing like he's needing to play. Like these guys are like really clicking at the right time. You're right. If I'm OKC,
And they got depth.
they got depth. If I'm OKC, I wouldn't want to play either one of them. But I
Yeah.
personally think the Nuggets are going to play them. It's more for the storyline, man. Look, both of the MVP candidates going head to head. Who really deserves it? Who really is the MVP?
But Kawhi, man, Kawhi's gonna
Kawhi playing. Hey, look now, Kawhi.
he's gonna make that thing hard for him to do.
I said
It really
this.
is.
When Kawhi is healthy, he's the
That
best.
sucker's awesome.
He is a top 5 player in the league, and nobody can dispute it. I don't care. But the problem is he has health problems. But when he is healthy, I'll take Kawhi just about anybody. Like Kawhi when he's healthy, man, because he can do it on both sides.
He's a problem.
He's a beast.
Yeah, but the Clippers, they've really added a lot of depth. You know, you talk about all the different guys they got. You know, they went at the deadline, added some guy. Bogdanovich is really he's come on pretty strong for them. You know, Powell's been awesome.
Powell been playing.
Harden, Batum, Zubats has been great. Like Zubats has been playing really great for them.
I had a Lakers fan yesterday say they still mad they let go of Zubac.
Right, don't traded him for Mike Muscala. Can you believe that?
I know.
1-for-1. How stupid.
I know.
How stupid, man.
Yep.
Speaking of the Lakers are down 2-1 in their series with the Timberwolves. Today's game at 3:30. Best believe I'll be watching it. This will be game 4 in Minnesota. Yep. Need a bounce back, man. LeBron showed up last game. Doncic wasn't really. Something was off with him. They said something about illness or something. He was off. Looks like Jackson Hayes is kind of not playable at this point. The role players really haven't been all that bad. I mean, let me look at this series. I mean, I haven't been able to watch a ton of it. I know I watched some of the last game. It's just you know how that is. They're always so late. I watched some of the last game. LeBron was going off. I didn't get to watch game 2 really. That's when they ended up winning.
Yeah, I watched
94-85, and then game 1 was 117-95. I still stick to it. I texted you guys when it happened. I'd still take playing the Timberwolves over going against
the Warriors,
the Nuggets or the Warriors. I think the Warriors match up a lot better with the Lakers than most teams do. They're not. They want to play small ball, just like the Lakers want to do. So yeah, it's not. You're not going to play them out of, putting a player on the court. They want to play small ball. They'll spread the floor, that kind of thing. Warriors are still they're still a big threat, man.
They are.
But the Lakers, they got to have a bounce back today. I'm still going to take them to win the series. I think they'll bounce back, win this game today, and then win this game. It might have to go 7, honestly. It's either going to go 7.
Well, today's the big games for me. Now,
yeah.
I remember watching game 2, and as you see, Timberwolves only scored 85 points. If you go back and I watched that game, and I'm like, can anybody else score? Because the only 2 people who really did anything, Anthony Edwards had 25, Julius Randle had 27. The next highest scorer was Naz Reid with just 9. Everybody else, 6, 0, 2, 8. Bro, they literally had nobody that was else scoring or helping them out at all game 2. Game 1 and game 3, 117 points, 116 points. While the Lakers in game 1 had 95. The Lakers in game 2, they had 94. And game 3 had 104, which is meaning they're staying consistently around the same scoring area. The defense for the Timberwolves is definitely showing out. My problem is guys like Luka, which even on Dallas. He's a defensive liability, man. He really is. And I think you're right. Going into game 4, this is a big game.
Gotta get a big game from him because last game it was just 17 points on 6 of 16 shooting from Luka.
I think
2 of 8 from 3. He was off, and I think you get a bounce back game today. I really do.
Yeah. But see, that's the thing. And I think
you see an eruption. I think you see a Doncic eruption today.
And I was telling people this. Luka has a lot of off games like this. The difference between this is when he was on Dallas, he could dictate it more because he's gonna keep shooting. He's gonna keep shooting. And you had a guy like Kyrie that was really good at helping the ball and stuff.
He's got LeBron. I mean, LeBron wasn't
had a great game.
Like a slouch. Yeah, he had 38 points, 13 of 21 shooting from the field, 5 of 9 from 3, 10 rebounds. He was trying to carry it, man, and he was doing his best. But literally, it's kind of like you said about the Timberwolves. It was him at 38. Then you had Reeves at 20, Doncic at 17. There wasn't really anybody else doing anything this game. You didn't have, Gabe Vincent popping threes all the time. You didn't have Finney Smith going nuts. There was just Luka had too much of an off game that day.
He did, and you can't have those type of off games when the other side is
not that bad. He's got to present a little bit more of a threat. If you're like you said, if he's going to be a defensive liability on the offensive side, you got to be a little bit more of a threat, and he just wasn't.
Well, let me tell you something. Look, LeBron definitely showed out, man. I'm gonna tell you this: LeBron shooting those threes, that was epic. I'm not gonna lie to you, man. That Joker showed out this game, but you got to make it work because if they lose this game, this series over. I don't care. This is. I'm not buying no more 3-1.
Most likely, you are correct.
It'll probably unless a bad injury happens, but if they lose this game, this series might be done. So.
Yeah. Well, let's look at the Rockets Warriors real quick, and then we'll close it out. Rockets right now are down 2-1 to the Warriors in this series. Game 4 going to be at Golden State tomorrow at 10. The Warriors won the first one 95-85. The Rockets won the second one 109-94. And then last night, the Warriors beat the Rockets 104-93. I'm still of the opinion the Warriors end up closing this thing out. They got Steph Curry. That's all I got to say. They got Steph
Curry showed out last night, bro.
Yeah,
he showed out last night, bro. He's something.
Can't give him an inch.
He's something else. Without Jimmy Butler, and let me tell you what helped them.
That's what's crazy.
Buddy Hield and Gary Payton stepping up to the plate. Those boys played huge yesterday. And, bro.
They sure did.
To not have Jimmy Butler come in, and let's just wait till when he comes back. Bro.
It's going to be dangerous. They're going to be dangerous. That's what I'm saying. I do not want to face them in the next round if the Lakers move on. I really don't.
They're going to be hard to beat, bro. They're going to be hard to beat.
They really will.
They're going to be hard to beat. Y'all done messed up. Both done messed up, man. And they slept on the Warriors up until the point, obviously, when Jimmy Butler went to the team, everybody kept saying, Steph just needs one more piece. He needs one more piece. Well, we'll see how the Rockets respond because their game 4 is huge. But I tell people, the experience in the playoffs, where you've been there, you've done that, you know how it feels, you know how to make it work. I think that's huge for Golden State.
They're going to
Golden State's been in positions before, man, with less than 5. Having to know how to make it work. Heck, I never forget when they won that game in Sacramento, Game 7. They ain't nowhere in the world they should have went on Game 7 and beat Sacramento. What was that? 2 years ago? A
couple years ago, yeah.
They were severely outmatched, and they still found a way. Like I'm saying, man, that experience. I wouldn't sleep on Golden State coaching. You can't sleep on it, man. You can't sleep on it, man.
You can't. Yeah, the Rockets, they have a fun team. They have some guys they can throw stuff. Right now, they're rocking with an 8-man rotation, though, and they're trying to do the thing where Thompson shadows, Curry a lot, but then as soon as he gets Van Vliet on him, it's not going to work, man. Thompson
barbecue chicken
problems. Yeah, Brooks can do it. You can't put
barbecue chicken.
Van Vliet on him, man. Yeah, you can't. He's gonna get you. Tari Eason you can maybe do, but it's just there's only so much you can do. I like Udoka as a coach. I think he can find a way to maybe extend it, but I'm just not. I can't. If I had to put money on it, I'm not see it happening. So, I think the Warriors end up moving on from here. But well, anything else you want to cover here before we break it down?
No, brother, that's perfect, man. That was a great show.
Show.
I'm excited for the playoffs. About to get ready to watch some of these games. Excited for the Lakers game. I'll definitely be getting ready to get on the plane for some of that game. So yeah,
Yeah.
well, for the end part of it. But yeah, I'm gonna be watching the Lakers and the Timberwolves. I can't wait.
I got you, man. All right. Well, thank you guys out there for tuning into the live stream. Thank you out there if you're listening to this on podcast. If you want to listen to us on podcast, we're on any podcast platform out there: Spotify, Apple Podcast, anywhere you can find them. We appreciate all the support. Continue to follow us, subscribe to us. Retweet, share, all that good stuff on the social medias. If you want to support the show, just go to the Linktree link in the bottom of this podcast description, and you can click that, and you can follow our different social media channels. Thanks for tuning in, and as always, we'll see you next time.
Boom, boom.